Do you know what separates top illustrators from the rest? They have mastered their strengths and they understand their weaknesses. But why does that matter? Well, understanding your strengths and weaknesses is crucial for a few reasons. First, you can realize your full potential. When you know what you're good at, you can focus your energy on projects that showcase your best skills. That means you're going to create work that's better overall than if you were working on things you're not so good at. You can also grow your career in a more strategic way. By leaning into your strengths, you can carve out a niche for yourself in the market, meaning you'll have less competition. Specializing in what you do best can lead to enjoying your work more and finding clients that really get you. There's also an efficiency and productivity angle. Focusing on your strengths allows you to work more efficiently. Because you're naturally more skilled and confident in those areas, that means it's going to be less of a heavy lift to work on more projects and do more work in general because it'll feel easier. In this video, we're going to explore how to assess your own skills, why you should lean into your strengths, and we'll also touch on an alternative approach of improving your weaknesses. If you're new here, I'm James, an illustration agent, and I help illustrators like you build successful careers. Before we dive in, let's quickly run through some desirable strengths that are going to be useful for a freelance illustrator. Creativity, the ability to think outside the box and bring fresh ideas to the table. Technical skills, that's mastery of your chosen medium, whether it's digital or traditional. Communication, being able to clearly express your ideas and understand what your client wants. Time management, juggling multiple projects and meeting deadlines is going to be really important. Adaptability, having the flexibility to work on different kinds of projects and being able to change with the times. And marketing skills, knowing how to promote yourself and your work effectively and being able to find paying clients. Those are some of the strengths that can really help you in the freelance world, not to mention more specific skills in your chosen illustration style, drawing and painting and composition, etc. Let's first look at how you can assess your own strengths and weaknesses. First of all, let's talk about why self-assessment is so crucial. You need to be able to see and measure your own skills as clearly as possible so you can have a realistic view of where you are now. But it's probably impossible to do entirely by yourself. We need outside opinions to make sure the way we're measuring ourselves isn't biased. It's very hard to see our own weaknesses sometimes, partly because we don't really want to see them. When you can understand what you're good at and where you might need some improvement, you have a roadmap to getting better at your job, or anything really, but a map is only useful if you know exactly where you're starting from. Here are a few ideas to help you find out where you are now. Review your own portfolio. Go through your past work and identify the pieces you're most proud of. Ask yourself why they stand out. Is it the concept? Is it the technical skill you've demonstrated? Is it the storytelling or something else? This can give you a clear idea of where your strengths lie. Also ask yourself which ones you like the least. That's really important too. Why don't you like them as much as the others? Often those are going to be the older pieces, which is absolutely normal. That means you're improving over time. Next, consider the feedback you've got from clients. Look at the projects that received the best feedback and analyze what made them successful. What did you do well in that project that you could replicate for the next one? Client feedback can be incredibly insightful. Getting feedback from your fellow illustrators can also be really valuable. They can offer a different perspective and point out strengths and weaknesses you might not have noticed. That can be done very informally by sharing your work with your peers and people you trust and asking for honest feedback. And to be clear, I'm not talking about posting work on social media and counting how many likes you get. You should also take some time for self-reflection. Think about which tasks and projects you enjoy the most and feel most confident doing. What aspects of your daily illustration practice make you lose track of time because you're so engrossed in it? These are likely things you excel at and possible strengths. When it comes to identifying your weaknesses, which projects have you found particularly challenging or weren't as successful as you'd hoped? Think about what made them difficult. Was it a lack of certain technical skills, difficulty understanding what the client wanted, maybe a lack of good ideas in the first place, or maybe it was time management issues? This will really help pinpoint areas for improvement. Pay attention to any recurring issues with your work. Do you often struggle with certain types of illustration like character design or conceptual images? Do you find yourself avoiding certain tasks? Or maybe avoiding drawing certain subjects because you're not so confident with them? Recognizing these patterns can really help you identify weaknesses. As you go through this process, write down a simple list of your perceived strengths and weaknesses based on your portfolio review, client feedback, peer reviews, and self-reflection. This will give you a clear visual guide of what you excel at and where you might need to focus on improvement. I spoke with illustrator and author Ben Talon on the channel a little while ago about his latest book, The Creative Condition. And he had a great little exercise in there where you write down and rate your stats like a top trumps card, which is a card game where you compare stats of something, an animal, a football player, or a car, or something like that, with whatever the card your opponent has. If you're not familiar with it, it's also a bit like your character stats in an RPG computer game. Your character might have power, magic, agility, stealth, and different stats like that. You can write your own list of stats and rate them 1 to 10. I did the exercise as I was reading the book, and I got enthusiasm, 9, consistency, 8, assertiveness, 3, overthinking, 9, ambition, 9, patience, 8, magic spells, 3, and banter, 1. For an illustrator, you might rate your drawing skills or Procreate skills, animation skills, confidence, resilience, consistency, or whatever it might be. It's a fun way to gamify your skills. When you know what skills you've got, you can work out where to spend your skill points and level up. Set specific, measurable goals for both your strengths and your weaknesses. For strengths, think about how you can leverage them more in your work and promote them in your portfolio. For weaknesses, consider setting goals to improve gradually, whether through practice or learning new things or seeking advice from other people. Make this kind of self-assessment a regular habit. Periodically, maybe every 6 months, put something in your calendar and review your portfolio. Gather some feedback and reflect on your progress. I actually have a quarterly review appointment in my calendar where I spend an hour or so thinking about the projects I've done and the projects I want to do for the next 3 months. All right, now we've covered how to assess your strengths and weaknesses. Let's move on to why I think you should focus on your strengths and how you can make the most of them. If you're liking this video so far, hit the like button. I'm a big believer in focusing on strengths. That's why I'm not trying to be an illustrator anymore. I've tried out a lot of different skills and hobbies in my life, but I've let most of them go because I'd rather be really good at one thing than okay at lots of things. When you work on projects that align with your strengths, you naturally feel more confident and motivated. This positive energy not only improves the quality of your work, but it also makes the process more enjoyable. Focusing on what you're best at allows you to produce higher quality work overall, and clients notice that, and it can lead to more opportunities and better projects. Your unique strengths become your signature style, which sets you apart from the competition. Leaning into your strengths also means you spend less time struggling with tasks that don't come naturally to you. You can work more quickly and easily when you're doing what you do best. So how can you improve the strengths that you have now? Basically, do more of it and show more of it. Make sure your portfolio highlights your best work. Curate it to showcase the projects that play to your strengths. Now, this not only attracts the right clients, but it also reinforces your own confidence in your abilities. Actively look for opportunities that align with your strengths, whether it's a specific style or medium or type of illustration project. Focus on projects that you excel at and that will help you build a strong reputation in that niche. And even though you're already good at something, there's always room for improvement. Invest time in developing those strengths. If you've got a natural head start in something, you want to make sure you keep that head start for as long as possible so no one else can compete with you in that one thing. Take some courses, experiment with some new techniques that will feed into that strength, and stay updated with technology that can help you. And don't be shy about promoting your strengths. If you're good at something, tell people about it. Use your website, social media, and direct outreach to clients to showcase what you're best at. If a really great client is looking for a particular skill, they'll be looking for people who are experts at that skill. I have a lot of weaknesses, surprise, surprise. There are some things that I'm just terrible at, and other things that I can't do because I either can't get my head around them or I just have zero interest in doing them. But I'm lucky enough to work with people who have complementary strengths to me. Together, we work as a really well-oiled machine. I can't do some of the things that they can do, and I have skills and interests that they don't. So if you're lacking skills in a certain area, why don't you try collaborating with someone who does have those skills? Let's take animation as an example. Moving images and GIFs and animations are really popular. But if you don't have that skill, you could find an animator who's at a similar stage in their career to you and work on something together. You bring the illustration style and they bring the animation skills. You can make something better together than you could individually, and you both get a great new project to show in your portfolio. By focusing on your strengths, you're not only building up your skill set, but you're also positioning yourself for more success and satisfaction in your career. Next, let's explore the alternative approach of addressing your weaknesses and why it might still be worth doing in certain situations. There's an argument to be made that you should build up your weaknesses, but if you spend all your time working on those, you'll never get really good at your strengths. There's only so much time in a day after all. And don't get me wrong, being someone with a really well-balanced and well-rounded skill set is great, but that's not what I see when I think about the best and busiest illustrators in the world. I see greatness in those illustrators, in particular skills. I don't care about what they're not good at, because they're amazing at what they do and what they show. So even though leaning into your strengths is a powerful strategy, there are times when addressing weaknesses can be beneficial. Let's talk about those situations. Sometimes skills are non-negotiable for projects you want to work on. For example, if you work in a traditional medium, you need to be able to send those files digitally, and you may need to be able to edit them and retouch them digitally, whether they're scans or photos or whatever, so they're up to the right quality for the client. Clients might also require a specific skill set for a project. If you find that a recurring weakness is holding you back from landing projects, it might be time to focus on improving in that area. Addressing weaknesses can also open up new opportunities for you. By broadening your skill set, you might discover new interests and new strengths that will help your career. In my opinion, focusing on strengths is ideal, but a balanced approach can probably be useful. Here's how you can manage and improve weaknesses without detracting from your strengths. Prioritize key weaknesses. Identify which weaknesses are most critical to your career and focus on those. Not all your weaknesses need to be addressed with the same intensity. Think about incremental improvement. Set small, achievable goals for improving your weaknesses. Incremental progress can lead to significant improvements over time without overwhelming you or taking too much time. Think about how you can leverage your existing strengths to help tackle your weaknesses. For example, if you're great at creative concepts but you struggle with a certain part of the technical execution, use your conceptual skills to create a really strong foundation, and then work on aspects of the technical details afterwards. Sometimes, if the concept is strong enough, the technical execution can be kept really, really simple. Or if you're really good with colours, but your anatomical drawing isn't great, you could work in a more expressive style that highlights the colours and doesn't focus so much on the anatomical details of the human figure you're trying to draw. Then with each new piece you make, you can focus on a small aspect of it to improve on. Maybe it's hands, maybe it's eyes, maybe it's the proportions of the limbs. There are ways to disguise the areas you need to improve. Just make sure you do put effort into improving them if they're important skills. Here are some pros and cons if you're wondering what to focus on. Working on your weaknesses can make you more versatile and adaptable. It can also prevent critical gaps in your skill set that might limit your career opportunities. Additionally, overcoming a weakness can boost your confidence and demonstrate to yourself and your peers that you have a commitment to personal growth. However, focusing too much on your weaknesses can be time-consuming and demotivating, especially if it takes time away from your strengths. It's important to strike a balance to ensure you're not neglecting the areas where you can really excel. All right, let's recap the main points. Assess your strengths and weaknesses at regular intervals. Make yourself a list of your skills and stats. Focus primarily on your strengths to maximize your potential and address key weaknesses that are going to help your career. Remember, it's all about finding a balance that works for you. So, thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.